to be wealthy? Do you want to be in control of your finances? Do you feel like you mostly get financial advice from people who are trying to sell you a bank's products? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, then stay tuned because you are at the right place. Welcome to Money Convos, a club committed to helping people achieve financial freedom by providing education and guidance on personal finance and investments. We have a group of experts who share their knowledge and give practical advice with no strings attached. At Money Convos, we have candid, mature conversations about wealth, how to create it, grow it, and protect it. We share our experience and encourage our audience to share theirs and ask questions. Join us every Thursday on Clubhouse at 7 p.m. GMT. We also have book discussions that bring out practical lessons. So far, we have read Dumb Things Smart People Do With Their Money, The Richest Man in Babylon, and The Millionaire Next Door. Most importantly, we have one-on-one financial coaching sessions where we guide individuals through setting financial goals, retirement planning, budgeting, investments, risk management, and so many more areas. The goal is to get you to financial independence from whatever income level you're at. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. The handle is at Money Convos GH, or send us an email at moneyconvosgh@gmail.com so we get you started on your journey to financial freedom. Now that you're all caught up, let's head into our next conversation.
Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome. Today we have Danielle and Mimi joining me and Jennifer, the regular hosts. Mimi has already appeared on our book reviews before. Mimi needs no introduction. She's the founder of Money Convos. Hi Mimi, how you doing?
Hi Elikem. Hi Jennifer. Hi Danielle.
Great.
Hi Danielle.
Hi.
And Danielle, Danielle, this is your first time joining us on YouTube Live, right?
Yep, precisely.
Nice. It's nice to have you. Once we were discussing this book, we had to get you in. You and David are very big on this book, so we needed your thoughts on it. And to Jenny, how are you doing?
Hello, Elika. I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
I'm great. Okay, so for today's conversation, we've already had two previous conversations, but it's more about getting your perspectives on certain themes in the book. So it would be more punchy than the previous ones, but to our audience, if you've listened to the previous ones, it may seem like a bit of a repetition, but I'm sure our ladies have very different perspectives to offer, and I'm sure you would have something to learn from them. So let's get in there. I guess first we would want to review or talk about the main concept of the book, cheese and the maize. Like that's the main theme. And we don't want to give too many spoilers to people who haven't read the book. But without telling the whole story, Jenny, can you tell us what cheese and the maize symbolized in the story?
Okay. So the cheese symbolized the benefits that we get in life. So it could be money, it could be, let's say, a good career, it could be your cars and your houses and your wealth and all of those things. So it signified the end results of the things that we are pursuing in life. And I like to mention that when the little people got there, they realized that they had arrived. So then they forgot where their boots were and everything, and then they come there in the morning. So like they hustle to the place to get the cheese, and when they get there, they sit down and eat so that their bellies get full. So the cheese signifies all the stuff that we want to achieve in our lives. So I think for people will be different. Like my self-actualization will be different from Mimi's self-actualization, and so it signifies that for everybody. Now the maize signifies the ins and outs, like the world, sort of. So then the whole meal signifies the world, and then the path signifies the, let's say, path that you are taking as you are getting up every day and sleeping every day and growing through life. So, for instance, they were able to chart a path, and so, like, let's say, for instance, school, work, everything, and then they got to cheese station C. So that was a goal from the school they were going to, the career development they were doing, everything. The end goal was to get to cheese station C. When they got there, then the cheese got finished. They needed to up their game, and by upping their game, they needed to go through a lot more struggle or life. And then that's how they'll get somewhere. And then she was say, I think Hall will say that the place was too dark for him, and then there were a lot of obstacles there. So that they are the paths through life. They'll come with obstacles. They'll come with good things and bad things that we'll have to go through to be able to get to the achievements or successes that we want for ourselves. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. So the cheese is the things that we desire in life, and the maize is the how.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm curious, Mimi. What is your cheese? What are you struggling in life for? Like, what at all are you looking for?
Interesting question. And so for me, I mean, I don't ask for much.
Oh boy. Oh, you know it's gonna get interesting when that's the preamble.
I don't ask for much. First of all, definitely the rich auntie status. I ain't doing no broke. So
That's life.
yes, definitely the rich auntie status, a comfortable life where, when we talk about financial independence or being able to do what you want when you want, for me that is it. I'm also hard on leaving a legacy for my for my kids. So that is cheese. But all these things are all these things
Speaking of
are in
leaving a
terms
legacy,
of,
right?
yeah, I know, right? All these things are like financial, non-financial. Definitely, I think I would be very, proud to see my kids, do well, fend for themselves, be in a good place, continue from wherever I ended. Not necessarily that they have to do what I did, but at least I know I've built something for them to, continue on. I think that would get me very excited. Definitely my career in terms of my passion and my purpose, which definitely has to do with, motivating people, encouraging people, and empowering people. So I believe that when I'm able to do these things that I mentioned, of course, have very healthy relationships and be able to, impact the lives of others, then I'll say that, I mean, that's what I'll describe as my cheese.
Okay, that's nice. Rich auntie status and making an impact in other people's lives. All right. Daniel, how about you? What's your cheese?
Hey. um, I mean the rich aunties on that list, so that's one. I think I've probably said traveling the world is my other cheese. And what else? I guess yeah, a good career and good relationships, be it romantic or family or friends. And yeah, just peace of mind. I think those are the top four on the list. Yeah.
Nice. I like the last one. Peace of mind. It said in the wise words of Dr. Dre, you can't put a price to a peace of mind.
I
Okay.
feel that one too.
Okay. All right. She's revising her points. Jenny, how about you? What's your cheese? Should I just say the first one for you?
Yes,
Rich auntie.
please.
Okay. Rich auntie.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Soft life. Thank you.
Mm.
Hashtag soft life. Yes, so I also want that. I want a fulfilling career. And then The jury is still out if I want kids, but then I want the kids of my nuclear family members, so my brother's kids, and if I have kids myself, to really be set up in life, like to have something that they are standing on, so that they know that the world is at their beck and call. No matter what they want to do, they'll be able to achieve that. So I really want that, to when I'm dying, I want to be fulfilled. I want to have achieved all of these things. Thank you.
Nice. So you want to set up, you want your children to be, and your family to be trust fund kids. That's
Yes.
nice. That's nice. I guess for me, my cheese is, well, of course, I want to be extremely wealthy. Not just for the sake of having the numbers in an account, but because of all the things that it can make me do. And one of the things that I really want to do is improve the averages in Ghana, like improve the average status of education, improve the average financial literacy, like just improve the average. I think we'll be so much better off. I know a lot of people want to change, um, want to improve the African continent and whatnot. It's all good. It's all good. But for me, I really want to focus on Ghana. So that's my cheese that I'm chasing, right? Okay, so let's go on. There are some people in the maze chasing the cheese. Funny comments I see from Adam in the comment section. Got GH Elon Musk, funny. Anyway, so there were some characters, right? There were mice and there were little people. Jenny, would you like to tell us about the mice first?
Okay. So the mice were Scurry and Sniff. I really like the division of labor that they had. They had different jobs in the pursuit of cheese. So Sniff was the one that had a very sharp nose. So he will sniff out like new cheese, and also he sniffed out when there was mold, when the cheese was going bad and everything. So he was the nose and the sort of the idea generation of the two. Now Sniff will get the direction that they should go in, and then Scurry was the executor of so of the will of Sniff. So when they found out, when Sniff found out that there was a new direction that they should go into, Scurry hurried up and then was charting the path. And Sniff, I remember something in the book where it said that Sniff had to hurry up and then keep pace with Scurry. So yeah, those were the two.
Yeah, interesting pair they were, and like you said, the division of labor, they worked very nicely. To the football fans, you can imagine that Sniff is the one who give the assist and Scary will score the goal. Could you Diamonds, I'll be so proud of me. Anyway, that's an inside joke, pardon me. Now then there were the little people, and these little people thought that they knew better. After all, they are little people. They are not primitive mice. You know, the mice, they just had basic instincts. One is just sniffing, one is just running. You know, they have emotions, they have intellect, they have, a lot of experience behind them. So as they are navigating this maze to find their cheese, they have it's more complicated for them, and they have a more sophisticated way they go about it. And there's him and her. Danielle, are you in a position to describe them and how they compare?
Um, hmm, I think I'd say one was pretty strict on how they approach the whole idea, the maze, and then the other one was open to change. I don't remember who is who, but those are the two like general characteristics of the two of them. Like I think it was him that was just like, this is the way we found. Let's just do it. And Hall was the one was like, well, let's go try something. There might be something. Let's keep going. We don't have to stop at C. We can move to D or all the way to Z. Like there might be something waiting, but if we stay here, what are we going to find? So I think those are the two characters. If I remember
Yeah,
correctly. Yeah.
you do remember correctly. You do, and I didn't get the the pun with him and Hall, like in those names. With Sniff and Scary, they were obvious. But with him and Hall, it took me a while to get him. Then I realized that, oh, he's hemmed into his way of thinking, right? And he's not gonna get out. But Hall, to be honest, I've read the book I think twice, and I still don't get the whole. Like,
Still
does
don't know.
anyone get the pun on it?
Nope.
Maybe it's how.
I don't really understand the meaning of horse. Let me Google it and see who will me understand.
Maybe it's how. Like he figured out how, Mimi.
Probably.
Ah, that makes
Probably.
sense. Well, while we wait for Jenny to help us with that, let's see. I'm curious. How do we identify with these? And please be as candid as you can. But let me start off. Before everyone scurries into saying that a how. Because it's like, if you read it, you know that how is like that effectively the admirable character. Spoiler alert. But anyway, for me, I wish I could say I'm a how, but I think I'm more of a scary. Like, I'm sure I have traits of bits and pieces of this and that, but I'm more of a scary. Like, you give me an idea, you tell me that this is what you want to achieve, leave me and let me go and get it done. Just get out of my way. It's, people bring me other ideas, and like I was saying last week in the second session of this book review, like, Mimi is the founder of Money Convos, but hey, look, we are together. We are running with this idea and taking it further up, to many places that we didn't think of even last year, right? And so I even think about, like, if I'm to go into entrepreneurship, I would not be surprised that it wouldn't be my own business idea. I'll probably be a co-founder or like an early employee in the business. So yeah, that's me. Who would like to go first? Mimi? How about you?
Yeah, I'll
Which of the
go. I'll go. For me, I think that apart from the scary, I think I play different roles depending on where I find myself. So if I'm passionate about something, I tend to find out new opportunities in that space because I'm always looking out for what is happening next. And so if you ask Elikem, I'm sure I've mentioned 1,001 ideas to him, and try to be involved in different things. So that's me from something I'm interested in. I tend to have an entrepreneurial mindset if I'm interested. With him, let me say that when it comes to technology, I've been a bit of him. I still don't use internet banking. I'm still stuck to my old ways. I like
Mimi, sorry to cut you off. Pardon me, but no, we can't just gloss over that.
What?
No.
You cancel them out.
So for me, it's weird. But for me, I like convenience, right? And my bank, I feel like, every time you call them, you have to go to the banking hall to deal with this. I'm not in the mood for that. So I'll just go with my ATM and do my, stuff. But I have a feeling that eventually when I change my bank, I hope no one is hearing me here. But eventually when I change my bank and things are smoother, for me, I've kind of realized that I need to be interested in something to push. And so for Money Convos on Clubhouse was a new technology, but I try to understand, what it is, how it's working, entering different rooms to find out how this app works, because I was interested in it. But most of the time, I'm like, whatever. And so when it comes to technology, I can be a hem, probably because I'm not connected why I should change. Maybe I'm okay. The whole, I'll say this is something more recent. I've just come to realize that I used to be more stuck in my ways, more of the person that will complain. I'm doing this person's not seeing it, in the workplace and stuff. But these days, I'm all about, let me say, I'm more open to learn and listen to other people's perspective. I guess that's what has helped me come out of that dark place. And those perspectives have been really good, because a lot of times, personally for me, I feel like maybe when it comes to myself, I'm a bit of a pessimist. So I tend to see more of the negatives than the positives. But other people see what you do and give you good feedback. Have you thought about this? You can actually do this. And with that perspective, I'm like, yeah, that's some cheese I should be chasing, you know. So in that scenario, I can be a whore. With the scary, I don't know. I think at work, you give me my KPIs. I don't know if that applies. You give me my KPIs, you tell me what to do. I'm a compliant person in general. So I would want to meet whatever goals that have been set for me. Anytime I feel discouraged, I'll go and look at those goals again that have been set by somebody, and I push. So I think I fit in depending on what in these different, I relate with these different characters in different situations. Yeah.
I like the perspective you've brought. Nothing is ever straightforward, and different. Yeah, you have different characters in different situations. That's a very important perspective. But most important thing that I've taken from what you've said is, I should change your name, your contact on my phone to Sniff.
To
Change to Sniff.
oh,
So instead of
I
naming, I
forgive
change
you.
it to Sniff. Oh, forgive me. Okay,
But
I see.
is it true what I'm saying, or maybe I'm just
Oh,
imagining
yeah,
it?
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, there are many
Okay.
times when I have to stop you. That, hey, hold on. Or are you writing all these ideas down? So I
Yes.
think yeah, very sniff. Very sniff. Okay, all right.
Sure, sure.
Let's hear from Danielle. Danielle, how about you? Which do you identify with?
Um, I think most of my life I've been a him. Like once I want this thing or this particular thing, my mother always says that when you make up your mind, nobody's convincing you. So yes, I can be a him if it's something I want, and I don't want anybody to get in my way. Like, please leave me. But when I have a little bit more like constructive conversations with like Ellie Kim and I will talk about something, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I can consider it this way. Or my sister and I will talk about something, I'm like, okay, maybe we can tweak it. We don't have to change the thing I want, but you don't have to do it A, B, and C. You can try X, Y, Z or something like that. I don't know if I'm much of a scary, like the let's go and pick, find it here. I'm not sure. I don't know if I identify as a sniff either. I think I tend to have like how do I put it? I think I'd like to call myself as the one who has the board of advisors who are the sniffs who will tell you like, oh, um, as okay, let me put it this way: with like career advice and stuff like that. When I was pursuing my master's degree, I was like, okay, I know I want to get an MBA, but I don't know what I will specialize in. Like, how do I go about this? So I talked to like family and friends, and I think I spoke to one of my brother's friends who's pretty close to me, like a brother to us as well. And he was like, if this is what you want to do, then I think you should chart your path based on maybe one or two of these concentrations. And that's how I picked kind of like what I wanted to do. So I think there are people around me who tend to be the sniffs who can tell me do this, or that. But personally, I think I'm a him when it's specifically like something I want and I figured out how I'm going to get it. And please do not stop me because you are not going to change my mind. Like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it regardless. And then I tend to have sniffs who I like to call like a board of advisors who will tell me or give me like little bits and pieces of advice that will help me to figure it out, but not necessarily change like what I want to do entirely. They might tell me, oh, do it this way instead. Or have you considered that it could be this way? Or have you thought about it like this? Or have you asked for them for something like this? Yeah. So I think I'm mostly a him. It can be hard because it can be like a stumbling block because it's like you are going, and you reach somewhere and you're like, how did I get here? So there are those like moments where I'm like, it's not exactly great to be a him all the time. It's okay if you are flexible and you can listen to the sniffs around you to give you some constructive advice. So yeah, I think that's how I will sum myself. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll tell your sister and brothers that you said they are mice. Well noted. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Jenny, how about you? Which of them do you identify?
Before I answer that question, I want to talk about the hem and haw. Then when we're trying to get
Okay.
the names, so it's
Yes,
actually
yes,
an
please.
idiom. It's actually an idiom to hem and haw. And
Okay.
it means that to take a very long time to make a decision, to go back and forth and
Oh,
stop often to change your mind before you make a decision. So I think Hall actually changed his mind, but him was actually entrenched in that, so he didn't change his mind. So yeah, that is it. I think
Wow.
so. I think that's the closest that I found on my Webster's dictionary. Okay.
Wow. Well, learning
Now
something new every day, right?
I know. So, so for mine, I think I am between a hem and a sky, and which makes me feel like the intersection between the two Venn diagram is a hole. But then, yes, let me just mention why. So, sometimes, as Mimi said, there are some scenarios and situations where I'm really like and I'm entrenched, and I will complain about like, now why is this happening to me? Now why is this like, yes, those things. And it takes me a while, it takes me a very long while to actually make a move. For instance, so I'm supposed to be going for clinicals every Tuesday or every Friday for my health. Now I'm always I haven't gone in my whole life, but I was supposed to have started when I was young. And I'm like, why do I have to go for every Tuesday clinicals? Now why and why? Yes, and I'm here, and I'm this is my age, and I haven't gone before. So I think I just need to snap out of it, and then it will be to the betterment of my health and my finances. So it will be a good idea for me to get out of my head and stop complaining and take up the mantle and go. There are a lot of other instances where I'm just like stuck in um my self, and then just be talking and not taking any action. But hopefully, as I do reflection like Mimi has taught me to, I'll get out of my hem ways and then start working. But then there are some other instances where I think I am a sky, especially when it comes to working in a team. I really do. I really like when we are collaborating as a group and then we are working together and we all know what we are supposed to be doing. I like if I have to pick up somebody's slack, I'll pick it up. I really like that, and I feel like I don't know why, but I think that human beings were built for teamwork. Like that's why at least the smallest unit of a family is a married couple, like two people. Yeah, so I really thrive in an environment like that, and so I think that it really brings out my scary mindset. Yeah, thank you.
Nice. That's and I can definitely testify to the scary in the workplace. So yeah, kudos to you on that. Okay, so I guess we all have something to learn, something to identify with in this book, right? Now let's continue on and discuss fear. I don't think I brought it. No, I brought it up when I was talking to David early in the first session, not with Brian. And so I'm curious, especially with him and Hall, a major challenge for them to react to change was fear. What are your thoughts on the effect fear has on people? Let's see. Mimi, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think that fear is a very strong emotion that just makes you inactive if you don't check it well. It can just disable you. And so it's a very strong emotion that we have to, be aware of. That's why a lot of the time you need a lot of reflection. Let me say again, to find out why you don't why you are making the decision you are making. And so sometimes you are just afraid. You are just afraid that if you put yourself out there, you may not make it, and you'd rather stay in your comfort zone. So I realized that, yes, that was one of, in a particular issue I was facing, or in a particular issue that I still haven't been able to tackle. It was the fear that what if this doesn't go well? And it's also sometimes because in the past you've been bitten, and sometimes your brain just takes that as a lesson. It could be in a negative way, but coming out of it can be very, like, a very difficult thing. So yes, fear is a very strong emotion, and I think it can hold us back and prevent us from taking a step when we have to.
Yeah, fear can be crippling. Yeah, that's an interesting one there. True. I'm sure some people would be able to identify with these effects it has. Jenny, how about you? Your thoughts on what fear does to people?
So fear, I'd like to just talk a little about the fear itself, and then I come to what it does to people. I think fear is the let's say, I don't know, feeling, the feeling that we have in us that I can be humiliated with this venture that I'm going into. It can backfire in my face, and I'll be caught holding my metaphorical balls. Anyway, but so because of that, I would rather stay in my comfort zone. I would rather not have to venture anything, because nothing ventured, nothing gained, but then nothing lost as well. So I think it really cripples us in the sense that it gives us this um there's a 50% chance that something can fail, and so it gives us this, oh, I have to start a fresh mentality. I will have to go to, let's say, if it's my family members, go to them and say that the venture that I was going into has failed, and I may even need to come back and live with you people and depend on you for some time until I get back to my feet. What will people say? What will I think about myself? And if I have to go through all of that and I can sit here and be as I am and eat 3 times a day, I'd rather do that and not venture out. And I think one thing that is very close to fear is vulnerability. And that's something I have suffered about from my whole life. Like being able to present yourself without fear that there will be judgments, and even if there will be judgments that you really can't give a rat's ass about. Sorry for my French. Yes, so I think it really, like, prevents us, because we don't want to have to fail and then look foolish. Yes, thank you.
Nice. I guess in this case, it wouldn't be a rat's bleep, more like a mouse bleep. Anyway, but yeah, it's what you say on vulnerability is very true. Putting yourself out there, like, man. So a lot of people don't engage, they don't want to start something that they just are afraid that people will think such and such about them. Daniel, how about you? What do you think of
Um,
fear?
yeah, I think I I guess the only way I can think of it is to buttress Mimi's points. It makes you like not want to do anything. So when we said fear, I thought of it as like sort of like, I don't know, like if you are a Christian or whatever, you have some kind of faith. I think like the root of most of the sins that we have, like even if it's just the seven deadly sins that you wanted to classify, I think the root of all of them is just you're afraid. You're afraid to be humble. You're afraid to move. You're afraid to be content. Like I think they all stem from just bottom line misro. So I cannot do anything. I just need to stay put. Or in the case of pride, I don't think I can be content with being humble, not even necessarily less, but just like my shoulders are down. So I'd rather elevate them, because if it comes down, then hey, somebody will press it or somebody will weigh on me. Something. I think it's just a bunch of like, I think all of them are rooted in fear. That's how I like to think of like sin in general and those like seven categories. And I think fear just keeps us caged, because if you are to loosen yourself, then it's like, oh, this freedom that I'm getting, how am I going to control it, or how am I going to deal with it? So I'd rather stay in like this small box, because once I get out, then it's like there's this whole world ahead of me, and I don't know how I'm going to navigate it. So that's how I like to think of fear. I think most things that we struggle with are rooted in I'm just afraid of breaking out of this cage or whatever it is that's holding me. So I might as well stay in my box or not move or not do anything. So that's how I see it.
Okay, that's an interesting way of seeing it. Like you said, siding with me, it keeps you caged in. Interesting analogy or linkage to the sins you brought in there. For me, I also like to bring another angle to the fear, right? Like the same thing that, so you could be in one situation and something, I think similar to what Jennifer was saying. Let's see, if you go out, if you put yourself out there or you work a little harder, put in a little extra effort, you may succeed and get a promotion or get a job. And if you don't, well, you just stay at home, right? It depends on how you see it, or I look at it as, do I fear? I have two options, and I have to fear one of them. So one is stay at home, not achieve my dreams, and the other is just go out there and fail. All right. And I think that for me, quite often it is the fear of not being able to attempt. I feel for me, fear can turn into regret. I look at what would I regret if it happened? Like if I know that, like if you've been following Money Convos for a while now, you know that I applied to some schools and I got a few rejections, eventually got a few nots, right? And there were some schools that afterwards I was like, "Ugh, I shouldn't have applied to those schools. Yours truly is one of them." And the name that must not be spoken again. But anyway, and I'm like, in hindsight, I'm like, well, probably shouldn't have applied for those schools. But I'm like, on the other hand, if I hadn't applied for those schools and I had gotten the ones that I got, I would always be asking myself, what if? Maybe I could have, and for me, I guess it's a fear of regret motivates me quite often. That look, I have had a few enough experiences to know that if I apply myself, it would pan out. Sometimes, Charlie, things just happen and you can't get what you want. Granted, but if I put myself to it, I can get it. So for me, it's really that fearing not doing something, and I think that's if more people also look at the situation from that other angle to realize that there's something in it and they can make the fear work out for them. Okay, so I guess at this point, with all that we've read from this book, all the lessons that we've got, right, I would like to keep this particular session crisp and we look at, to conclude, how we should face change. Like what are your tips for facing change? Jenny, would you like to get us started?
Okay. So I would like to draw some snippets from the book. Even though I like the way that Sniff and Scary went about, like, just keeping up with the change, I also like horse aspect, and I want to drill down later. But then the fact that even though they said it condescendingly, it is true that Sniff and Scary were simple brained, and the humans had a little more complications in their brain. It is true. So I think that, seriously, make sure that you are abreast with what is going on. Sniff and Scary knew that the cheese at station C was getting finished. It was getting moldy. So then they kept abreast with current affairs. And then when they got there and then the cheese was finished, they knew it wasn't surprising. So they just took off their shoes again, put it on, and then Sniff did his thing, and then Sky did his thing, and then they were at cheese station. And before you knew that, I like that, but I think it's a simple existence. We didn't hear about their struggles and then what they had to go through and all, but we learned about her. I think So with her, he also had to so keep up. So number one, keep up as you are keeping up with the current affairs. Make sure that you are changing with it. That was something that he said that I really identify with. Keep up with the change and then make sure you are changing with it. One thing that I have to do right now is learn about NFTs because Alikem has mentioned it twice and then I still don't really have a hang of it. So to take my own advice and keep up with current news, I have to really know what NFTs are. And as you're keeping up with current news, then you change as the times change so that you don't be a typewriter when the world has moved on to a digital keyboard and we've all left you behind. Yeah. And then finally, you have to make it easy for other people to also change. I really like what him Hall did for him in the sense that even though he was changing with the tide, anticipating the change and then going with it, he was cognizant of the fact that other people were not like him. But then we are a society, so then I make sure that you have it easier than I have when I am also when you are changing, so that I give you directions. I draw cheese, and then I write directions there, and then you can follow after me. And I think we'll have a very beautiful society. Thank you very much.
That's an interesting angle I was not expecting, but on hindsight, that's really what the book is about, right? Understanding these things and then using it to help other people to appreciate change. Like David said in the first session, he got to read this book when his a company he was working for some years ago was being taken over, and the money and people were kicking against the changes. And the manager got the book for all of them, and they read it, and he got some lessons, and it helped smoothing the transition for him. So it's a very good point you've brought up, using these lessons to help other people. Great. Mimi, how about you? What's your advice on how to manage change?
Hmm. I was trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to say. But the first thing that comes to mind is being around the right people. I mean, because you realize that, for example, Sniff was able to sniff it, the other support him, and even in the situation of him and how, even though him was stuck in his ways, if he wasn't, somebody would have been able to rub off him the right way to be able to move. And so, what I have realized in my personal life is sometimes just being around the right people can get you to move when you have to move, than being in your own small corner, trying to figure things out. So, I think for me, since COVID, my belief in the power of association has, like, I don't know, quadrupled, because I believe that it's very, very important to have the right people in your corner. um Also, change is inevitable, and I mean, it's very important that you keep your ears on the ground. However, I was thinking, should you be curious about everything, or you should be curious about some things? I think that you should have a general curiosity for everything, but with your line of work, or what you specialize in, your curiosity should even be like on top. So you can watch general news or be on social media or whatever and have a general sense of, okay, Russia, UK war, this, what is happening, blah, blah, blah. But what your specialty is, it just has to go beyond, just knowing what is happening on the surface level. You need to go deep into it. And that may require taking a course, that may require some mentorship, some coaching, whatever it is. Just do what you need to do, so that you are always on top of your game. It's easier said than done, to be honest. And for me personally, let me share my personal stories, because I've been struggling with, whether to do a professional course or not. Study like my bread spoon or my bread, and I've been struggling with whether to do a professional course or not. And I think I've been giving myself excuses that it doesn't really make a difference. But it hits me that, girl, it makes a difference. it makes a difference in even the way you are perceived. Because I mean, if you are in this market, if you have a certain title to your name, it doesn't, it not necessarily that that title makes you smarter, but people will just open their doors to you. So I realized that you need to, do some of these things. So yes, be open to change, but I can't, like, remember, at the same time, I'll go and learn so much about NFTs. Not to say that I shouldn't learn about it, but at the same time I used to learn about NFTs, I can use to learn about changes in something that is like in line with what I do. So yes, I can know about NFTs, I can know about I don't know what is the recent happenings, whatever it is, I can have a general idea about it. But with what my specialty is, with what my purpose is, with what my calling is, I should be like on top, of that game. So that's what I was just thinking about. That even though you should be sniffing everywhere, you should know your cheese. You should know your cheese and then go for that cheese, because a lot of times you may lose focus when you are looking at all the cheese in the area. You may lose focus on your cheese. So while you know that this is happening, that is happening, still focus on, what you really want out of life. Yeah.
Nice. That's a very good point. Keeping an open mind, keeping a curious mind, the difference between what's general and what's more specific. I just like to piggyback on what you said, Mimi, and it just got me thinking how to go about like the general learning, and uh, a way that I find that I learn effortlessly and passively is through podcasts. Like I'm an avid advocate for podcasts, and just a lot of people listen to music, especially when you're commuting, right? A lot of people listen to music, whether they are driving or they're in a moving car, in a bus or in an Uber or something. But that's a lot of downtime, especially when you consider the traffic in our major cities. That's a lot of downtime. And I usually tell young people, especially, like, it takes you 1.5 hours to get to work. It takes you 2 hours to get back home. That's 3.5 hours every day, 5 days a week. In a year, that adds up. In fact, in one week, that adds up. What are you doing with that time? Right? Consume information, and the subconscious has a certain way that it works. That when you're asleep, it will be processing. In fact, when you're not, when your mind is not there, cry, your subconscious is processing this information. So just absorb information as much as possible. And one good way is through podcasts. I would say it's the new radio, but with the radio you are forced to listen to what they want. But if you have topics that you are interested in, and you just subscribe and you just keep listening to those podcasts, general, just keep soaking it up. And we'll say news, but news is not always boring. It depends on where you go to listen to your news. It can be quite interesting. So yeah, I strongly encourage people, send me a message on any social media if you want to know my list of podcasts that I would recommend to anyone. You don't have to be a nerd to like those ones, and I would recommend a few for you. Definitely, you should try it. Okay, Danielle, your tips on managing change.
Um, I think I want to move away from him and her and the main characters. I think what I enjoyed about the entire story was like the end of the book where I don't remember if it was like a group of people sitting there having a discussion. You realize that if you're doing it alone, you're only privy to what you know at that time. But if there are other people around, you can exchange ideas, you can listen to feedback, listen to inputs. Because most of them talked about like jobs and how their job was changing, and they didn't realize, or they thought it would work out, so they decided to stay, and things along those lines. So I think with managing change, it's good to be sure about what you want, but I think sometimes like discussions like these, or just maybe a follow up with a friend, like, hey, I have these thoughts, like, what do you think? Or I have this idea, how can I refine it? Things along those lines can help you to manage like whatever you're going through better. Um, I think that also when they were having the discussions, you notice that even though everybody's point was not necessarily the same, you you'd realize that even though change is happening, we are really all going through like sort of the same problems all around. So like your problems and your changes are not too like peculiar to only you. Like there's really like nothing new under the sun, and we're all going through like different scenarios and things are changing for each and every one. But at the end of the day, it's really circled around the same old problems all around. So it's important to like talk to people and have conversation. I mean, it's okay if you're like introverted and you feel like it's better to stay alone, but sometimes maybe just a 5 minute conversation with somebody can give you a better perspective and can help you to navigate that change that you are going through a lot better. So I think that's all that I would say concerning this topic.
Very true, very true. I couldn't agree with you more. Sometimes just talking to other people, getting a whole new perspective, it really helps. And have Daniel, have you experienced this thing where you were talking to someone about something and a specific later on you form an idea from that conversation, but the fact is the person didn't say that thing, you didn't say that thing. It's just your brain found a way to connect the dots later.
Yeah.
Has it happened to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but and all
Just
it
you're
took was
casually
talking.
talking and you're like 5 minutes or an hour later, you're like, oh, this piece is up here and there, or this makes this. Yeah. I've definitely had some of those moments.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
also another benefit of talking to people, I feel like in the African context, people are like, nah, don't tell this person this, don't tell people your matter, don't tell people this. There's a lot of personally, I've not seen a lot of hateration. So I don't know about that. But it must be real for some people. People pulling other people down. I'll be honest, I've not experienced that kind of thing. Maybe just one time in the office space. One time. But it's not normal for me, so I can't relate, right? But what it prevents people from doing is you, like you said, these kind of benefits. You don't get these ideas and solutions that you to your issues. Another thing is I was talking to a friend just over this weekend, and she was saying that, oh, to start business, what you need is capital, and you can't find capital in Ghana. And I was like, Madam, let's be real. I know there's a shortage of capital in Ghana, but I can assure you there are people with hundreds of millions looking for somewhere to invest. The only thing stopping is you don't have the network that is going to introduce you to those people. And how do you get that network? You are telling people, oh Charlie, so what have you been up to lately? And you talk about this, talk about, oh, I know someone who is doing this, and I know someone who is doing that. Oh, you should talk to this person, talk to that person. But some people don't want to put themselves out there. But Charlie, some people too put themselves out there, even if they try and they fail. They are not shy to say, oh yeah, Charlie, that move, I tried to pick that move, but Charlie, it didn't work out to move. That kind of thing. So it's all about your network and what your network can do for you. You'd be amazed if you just open up a little. I know it's not easy. It's some way. We talk about fear and vulnerability and all that, but there are definitely benefits to all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Elisha. So,
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, with regards to what you were saying, I think it's very true. But sometimes, personally, what I do is you see people come to talk to you, like Elikem will come and talk to you about Jennifer's matter and the way he talks about it. You know that, Charlie, you are the next. you know, so I think that if you're like really observant, you would know what to get from who. There are some people that yes, you talk to, but you don't tell too much details because maybe you are going to hear your matter somewhere. There are those kind of people, and I remember having a shock of my life when I opened up to someone and the person just went to say like at the wrong time. So at the back of my mind, I still talk to the person, but I'm a bit more careful about what I tell the person because I still need the person's feedback. And I think you were talking about something just before you ended. You were saying something. I forgot.
Access to funding, capital.
Yeah, last week or just this week, I was on Facebook. I like to go to Facebook every now and then, especially these social issues. Just read what people like is going on in people's minds. And I think there was this person, I've forgotten who said that Ghanaian employees doing business, I think it was one of these associations, a representative of the association saying that doing business in Ghana is tough because employees are stealing, and there was so much backlash on, it's the low salaries, and if people get those, you could just see that people were justifying the stealing, even though, yes, I know that salaries are low generally, and it brings to bear a lot of issues. The fact that they were justifying issues that they have some issues with their values. Now, I believe that when it comes to business, yes, people have money and people are looking for people who are trustworthy. I think there's shortage of people who are trustworthy, who you can invest in and put in charge of your resources, and you would come back like the parable of the servant. The sower. I'm always forgetting that the name of that parable. Where you give
the sower.
The sower, yes.
Wait, isn't it the
Is it
talents?
the planting?
Three talents.
Well, I think, was it the talent? I think it's the talent, where one was given 1, 5, and
Yes, the talent.
yes. You no problem. You tend to find that a lot of us are that one, the one who got the one, and there's a shortage of the others. So if you are somebody who has your values in check and the rest, I feel like, and you, of course, you are visible, which is the most important thing, because you can have everything in check, but probably you are not visible. If you have that in check and you are visible, I think you will be just sought after, because there's a shortage of such people, especially in this side of the world. Yeah, I just wanted to add.
It's an acute shortage. Like, truer words have not been spoken. And I really appreciate what you said on talking to people. In fact, it's true. It's good to talk to people, but you need to know who to talk to and how to talk to them. So yeah, you need to find trustworthy people. And it's linked to the next one, trustworthy people, right? Okay. Great. So also soon we've come to the end of this short and sweet book. It's Jenny, this book is rising straight to the top of my list, just above Great and Outliers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because anyone can read it in an hour or two.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Please don't let me hear you finish that sentence.
That's why I stopped.
I can be looking at a document with Jennifer on the same screen, and by the time I finish the second line, Jennifer has finished the 10th line. So Jennifer is a whole different thing.
Jennifer, then I'm coming for impartation.
I tried to get her to teach me how she reads fast. Jennifer, she said, she just does. She doesn't want to teach me the trick. It's okay. I'll take it like that. Let my friend keep speaking to me. Anyway, so thank you all for joining. I really appreciate your time joining us here, and to our audience, thank you for listening. Please don't forget to follow us on social media, Money Convos GH everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, podcast, wherever. All right. And next week we are starting with a book, a very popular book in personal finance. Can anyone guess what it is except Jennifer? When I say like
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
How did you know? Did I say it at last Thursday session?
Yes, you did.
Anyway, there's no prize, so I don't mind. So yeah, we are going to take Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation, and catch you on Thursday where we continue with our more interactive conversation on Clubhouse. All right then, do have a good night. Take care. And a good week too. Starting the week soon. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our thoughts. I hope you learned a thing or two and start practicing. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook. And subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Do tell a friend about Money Convos so we all become wealthy together. Talk to you soon. Bye.